On the green ridge of northern Israel, near the city of Haifa, there stood Mount Carmel, a beautiful mountain overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. The Bible describes it as a place of beauty and abundance. It was here that the great prophet Elijah boldly defended the worship of the one true God against the prophets of Baal. After a long drought, Elijah climbed to the summit to pray. As he waited in faith, his servant spotted a tiny cloud rising from the sea, as small as a man's hand. That little cloud soon brought life-giving rain to the land. Many Christian writers later saw this as a beautiful symbol of the Virgin Mary, through whom Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, would come. Centuries passed, and during the time of the Crusades, Christian hermits sought silence and prayer on Mount Carmel. They built simple shelters and dedicated a small chapel to the Blessed Virgin Mary. They called her Our Lady of Mount Carmel, choosing her as their mother, protector, and queen. These humble men eventually became known as the Carmelites. Life, however, was not easy. Political unrest forced many Carmelites to leave the Holy Land and settle in Europe. There they faced misunderstanding, persecution, and uncertainty. Some even feared that their religious order would disappear forever. Then came an extraordinary moment. On July 16, 1251, according to Carmelite tradition, the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared to Saint Simon Stock, the prior general of the Carmelite Order. She held in her hands a simple brown cloth garment called the scapular and said, "Receive, my beloved son, this scapular of your order. It is the special sign of my favor, which I have obtained for you and for your children. Whoever dies clothed in this scapular shall not suffer eternal fire." Her message was not a promise of automatic salvation, nor a magical protection. Rather, the brown scapular became a visible sign of a person's commitment to follow Jesus Christ with Mary's help. It reminds those who wear it to live a life of prayer, faithfulness to the gospel, frequent reception of the sacraments, and loving service to others. The devotion spread rapidly throughout the church. Kings and queens wore the brown scapular. Popes encouraged the devotion. Saints such as St. John Paul II, St. Therese of Lisieux, St. Teresa of Avila, St. John of the Cross, and St. Padre Pio all had a deep love for Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Over the centuries, countless Catholics have shared stories of Mary's loving protection during times of danger, illness, war, and personal trials. Whether dramatic or quiet, these testimonies all point to the same truth. Mary never leads people to herself. She always leads them to her Son, Jesus Christ. The Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, celebrated each year on July 16th, reminds us that Mary is more than a figure from history. She is our spiritual mother, watching over God's children with tender care. Like the tiny cloud Elijah saw rising over Mount Carmel, Mary brings hope where there seems to be none. She teaches us to trust God's timing, to persevere in prayer, and to remain faithful even when life becomes difficult. Today, pilgrims still climb Mount Carmel in Israel. The Carmelite monasteries continue their mission of prayer throughout the world, and millions of faithful Catholics continue to wear the brown scapular, not as a lucky charm, but as a daily reminder to live under Mary's loving mantle and to follow Christ with all their hearts. The story of Our Lady of Mount Carmel is ultimately about a mother who never stops caring for her children. Through every generation, she gently repeats the words she spoke at the wedding feast of Cana. "Do whatever he tells you." And those who listen discover what countless believers have found before them. Wherever Mary is welcomed, she faithfully leads every soul closer to Jesus.